Hey everyone, it's Ali Garced again, or Ali the Agent on all social media. That's spelled ALI. And I am back with my first segment of the buyer checklist. I promised DJ that I would share everything in my checklist. So originally, the checklists were the buyer's checklist, the seller checklist, the investor checklist, the onboarding checklist. Originally, everything was for my just for my downline, but I really hope that this helps just better the industry altogether. So I am giving away my buyer checklist, my seller checklist, my 200-step onboarding checklist for agents at no matter what level or like level they're at is still just for my downline, but I am giving away my home buyer checklist and my seller one. So this is part one of maybe two or three for the buyer side. We'll see how it goes. And then I'm also going to have a two-part buyer or two-part for the seller checklist. So I am on Trello and I am going to be walking through how I have everything set up on Trello. If you want to follow along, watch this on YouTube because I am sharing my screen. And if you can't, that's okay. I'm going to vocalize as much as I can. So in that way, it's as if you are following along. So I'll start with what is even Trello, right? Trello is a free project management system. You could use your CRM, but I started using Trello because it was free and I kind of just stuck with that. So I'm going to show you and vocalize how I have this laid out. Starting from the very left side, I have a whole section for sellers and then a whole section for buyers and then a section for referrals as well. And what I do for those in my downline is I give them access straight to this Trello checklist. They can copy and paste it. But for those that are outside of my downline, I will be sending you a link to it. So that way you can have access to, but not the full access that I've poured my heart and soul into for my downline specifically. So on the left-hand side here, I have sellers and buyers broken into three different columns. So one is like far out sellers that I'm calling like C sellers. B sellers is, 3 to 6 months out. Again, to make sure that you're hitting everyone on that specific tempo. Then I have the third column is A sellers getting ready to list. You need to go on an appointment today and meet with them. Then I have 1 week before going live. The next column is once they are live on the market. The next column is once they're under contract. Because again, as you start getting more and more, properties under contract and working with more buyers and sellers to scale, you're going to get overwhelmed. So you need to have this organization in the beginning. So as if you've never used Trello, you can like drag and drop little cards. So you can, as soon as someone's under contract and then they're out a week out from closing, just drag and drop the card. Now the numbers change for how many are about a week out from closing. Then the next column is so that's it for sellers. Then on the buyer side, which I will be focusing on today, is how I work through my buyers. So again, C buyers about a year out, B buyers about 6 months out ish, and then A buyers, or hot leads, talk to them today. Then of course, under contract has its own column, 1 week out from closing. Once they're closed for 2023 or whatever year we're in when you're listening to this, then an archived one closed, but in the past, before or further out than a year ago, if that makes sense. And then I also have a dead lead column as well. And then I go into the referrals. I have everything consolidated onto this Trello board. Again, this is for the downline so they can just see how I organize things. I would show you mine. It is crazy. It has the same exact thing, but in order to make this as clear and easy for you to follow along, and for the agents to follow along in my crew, I made it as simple as possible. So this is a template. So let's start. Let's open up this Trello checklist. And in the beginning here is the source. That's the first thing you need to be tracking is who is giving you business? Where is your business coming from? Because that is what you want to replicate, double down on. If it's all coming from Zillow, then double down on Zillow. If it's all coming from a couple people that that consistently give you business, show them some love, give them some gifts, and say thank you. So you need to track because I'm such a huge proponent of tracking everything, track where your leads are coming from. So then of course I have like just the typical questions of what you're going to be asking, what you need to know once you're starting to work with the buyer. I have some attachments here. They might not apply to everyone because this is a buyer broker specifically for our area, a critical dates list. Of course, this might not apply to you, but that's okay. You can include your own attachments. And then buyer initiation. This is the first portion of the checklist. So I have my checklists sorted into different segments. So when we first start talking to a buyer, first thing is add them to your calendar, add them to your CRM. So that way you know to follow up at what tempo, what are the notes of what you previously said. The second portion here is take the intake from the Calendly. And this is what I used to have as buyer email number 1. For my buyers, I have buyer emails 1 through 6. It's canned, it's template, it's evergreen. So I just copy and paste. All I do is just change this who the recipient is for. But I used to have this as buyer email number 1. Now what I do is I send all buyers to my Calendly. Calendly is a paid service. It's about $160 a year. I highly recommend you sign up for it in case you haven't already. But and if you want to follow along there too, with whether you're looking at the screen or not, you can go on mine and copy the exact questions that I have. It's open to the public. So if you go on calendly.com/Garced Realty, that's spelled GARCED, Realty/buyer, you'll see exactly what my buyers are filling out before they meet with me. So I'll show you here. Go as if you're going to be booking an appointment. I'm getting their name, email, number. I have a next up is the box that says, will you be selling another home before or during this next purchase? Yes or no? If yes, what's that address with the zip code of the home you'll be selling? Because when we meet at the time that they scheduled for, I'll be asking if they want a realtor in that area to help them sell their home before they purchase with us. What's the reason that you're buying and selling? Then I also ask what are the top 3 must-haves, very important, as you all know. What are the top 3 wants? What are the top 3 deal breakers? And the catch-all. Is there anything else that you'd like me to know to be better prepared for our meeting? So they might come out with something out of left field. Better that they put it in this Calendly now before your appointment with them instead of on the fly where you might not know the answer and you could have researched it beforehand. And this last section is for them to send text messages, for Calendly to send text to the whoever's booking the call. This is only portion 1, right? I'm not going to go into Calendly today, although I can on a next meeting, if you guys wish. But in the back end of Calendly, I also go into the workflows tab because I want to make sure that I'm not going to be stood up. So I have the automatic email and text send out to the buyers or send out to anyone who books with me saying, thanks for, confirming, we're on for XYZ. You scheduled this specific type of meeting. And then I also have a 24-hour out meeting in case they book out more than a day out. And then I also have the hour before. It sends them a text. It sends them an email saying, hey, we look forward to seeing you in 1 hour for the home buying consultation. So let's go back to my Trello checklist. That is what I have all the buyers fill out. This is what used to be in my buyer email number 1. So I will not be covering buyer email number 1 because instead now I have Calendly save so much time. So you take the information of what they put in the buyer appointment and you start looking, you already start thinking about what kind of homes they're looking at, who's going to be in the meeting, etc. So then going down this checklist here, ask the buyers before going under contract with them. This is while you are meeting with them over Zoom. And I meet with everyone over Zoom because a lot of my meat and potatoes clients are actually out of state. So, because I do have a military background, so a lot of them are PCSing is what they call moving in the military. So, but then I got used to that and I figured that was such a better time spent, even if they are local in the area. Nobody wants to drive to an office. That's just a power move, I think. So save the time for them and for you, meet over Zoom. And that is where you go over a couple of questions, even more questions, because Calendly only allows 10 questions. So that's where you ask them, how often do you expect to hear from me? How can I be the best agent for you? And a lot of agents have issues with that question because it kind of like shifts the power dynamics, if you want to call it that. But don't forget that not only are they interviewing you as an agent, you are interviewing them as clients. Do not work with someone that doesn't make you feel good. There is so much business to be had, especially now that so many realtors are leaving the business. Scoop up the rest of the business. Don't be afraid to say no, because every single client that you take on, I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but every single client that you take on that you don't feel good about, you have like that, like those bad butterflies in your stomach whenever they call you or text you. That is a sure sign that you are not meant to be working together, and that is okay. Let them go, because all the time that you're spending with them is time that you could be spending with other clients that make you feel good. So anyway, then also ask them what's the best method of communication, of course, because some people only like phone calls. Of course, as you guys know, I don't. I don't like phone calls, but if they do, guess what? I'm doing phone calls, text, email, whatever it is. What I like about Trello is I can add these notes to the very, very top. So as your Trello board gets busier, as you're adding other clients here, you can easily, see, say, Emma, buyer in this city, this type of property, text or call. So that way you don't have to remember, ooh, does Emma like text? Let me look at that Calendly. Let me see that email that came in. No, it says right there, Emma likes text messages. Then add them to your CRM. Over here, I have KV Core, and I love KV Core. I didn't in the beginning, but wow, like I really, really like. I only know about 30% of what it handles, and I'm actually testing this out too. So if you want a copy of this checklist and you haven't already reached out to me on social media, text the word checklist to 520-341-2552. I'm more than happy to send it to you. Then, of course, you want to contact the lender or connect them to a lender. I usually do like a group chat with the lender. Then, of course, set them up on a search. Next on the Trello checklist is check in 3 days after setting them up on the search. And this is, I also have set up on my CRM. So as I add each client into the CRM in KV Core specifically, and I'm sure others do the same thing, I add task. So in 3 days from when we met, I'm going to add a task to notify me to reach out to the client saying, hey, did you like everything on the search? Is there anything I can switch? It's super easy for us to do so. Just let us know. Want to make sure we're not sending you trash. So then here, as you can tell, next step is I had to send buyer emails 1 and 2. Now, of course, buyer email number 1 no longer exists. So let me change that right here. Send email number 2. Let me show you email number 2. What does buyer email number 2 have? Allie, well, let me show you. I use Superhuman. It's a way to do a lot of shortcuts, but you can do the same thing with just saving this as a template on either Gmail or Outlook, whatever you use. But templated emails, do not be copying or do not be writing the same email over and over again. That's not a way to scale. And you want to be able to scale, I imagine, if you're listening to this. So right here in 2 seconds, I pulled up buyer email number 2. And the title is We're Excited to Work with You, because what buyer email number 2 is the confirmation that you and I are working together exclusively. You're not going to be using another realtor. So therefore, buyer email number 2 is very important for me, because this is the meat and potatoes, everything. I poured my heart and soul into this email, into everything really that I do, checklist, everything. And this is the way ahead. I show them everything of what buying a home is like in this market. So I started off with a video. This video is evergreen. It's not specific to, I don't say any names. I don't say any specific information, because I want this video to be evergreen and used for every single buyer email number 2. In this video, you'll see that all I do is go over all of the words in the email, because if buyers are to get an email like this, nobody likes reading anymore. So even if you make a video of you reading what you are sending them, they will watch that better. They will watch that. They will feel better instead of giving them homework. Hey, read this whole long email and, that's it. So I go over in this video what exactly I'm relaying to them in words of that email. Starting with number one, what to do right now. I give them homework. Buyers want to be told what to do, even even if they are investors that have purchased multiple properties before. They want to know. Think about it as a buyer. What is the next step? What do you want from me? What do I need to do? And what's next? Always think about that. Like, what do they need to be hearing from me? A lot of agents are too scared to add to assign them homework. And I tell them straight up, buyers, this is your homework. So what to do now is complete the buyer or open the complete buyer client PDF. This contains the entire step-by-step on how to purchase a property. And boy, does it. You'll see. Number two, before I open it, I'll open all the attachments at the end. Number two is message me if you've already had other agents show you properties. We do not overstep or steal clients, because if they have, then if for some reason they really don't like them, then I want to reach out to that agent and make sure, because that agent might not even know. And a lot of agents are too scared to do this. I don't care. I do not steal clients. I tell everyone in my crew, like, we do, there's so much shadiness that happens in this industry. Don't make it worse. If you are working with another agent, excellent, then work with that agent. We are going to focus our time on other clients that only want to work with us. And I have no issue saying that. And believe it or not, I've only ever lost 2 clients because of that. And that's okay. Number 3 is walk through the purchase contract, which is attached and with this video that I made for you. This needs to be reviewed before we place offers. Number 4 is check your junk folder in case the listings that we send to you through our website, through the MLS, is sent to your junk. Number 5 is review the 7 ways to make your offer stand out video. Number 6, review the buyer advisory on due diligence best practices. Number 7, send us your pre-approval or proof of funds. We cannot take the next steps without that. And then following this email here, I have, once again, whenever you have a property that you like based off the emails that we send you, please do the following. This is what you do once you find a property that you like. 1, make sure it's in a location where you'd like it to be. I cannot talk about, as you know, realtors cannot talk about what area is safe. So instead, what we can do is give you the resources for you to figure that out on your own. So this is a list of schools for you to do your research if schools are important. This is spotcrime.com, maps.google.com. Drop the little yellow guy, walk the neighborhood virtually in case you're not already there. Make sure it's within your pre-approval amount. Ensure your spouse or all other buying parties approve. Ensure the numbers work for you. Let's connect it with your lender. That's why I do a group text with the lender. And if you're serious about it enough to make an offer, and I tell this over the Zoom call with my buyers, if it's a level 7 or above out of 10, like 10 is you really want that property, if you want to make an offer on it, that's when you send it to us. That's when we start taking a look. Because otherwise, there's no point of seeing a house that you only halfway are interested in. Anything under 7, don't send it. And I tell them that. Then number 6, I'll look up all of the agent notes. I'll send all the information to you, any attachments that they have, read it over. That's number 7. And number 8, let's get you in there ASAP. I try to kill the deal before it even starts if you can't tell, because there's no point of seeing a house, of contacting the listing agent if the buyer is a VA loan and they're not even accepting VA loans. Of course, you're going to ask, hey, was this a fluke? Was this a typo? But I try to kill the deal before it starts. Save your time, save your sanity. Then, as again, I reiterate it, there's no point of driving to view a property that's out of your budget in an area you don't like. So make sure it is a hell yes. And the purpose of this video is because I wish I had more information when I was a buyer. So I want to send you as much information as I can. Hopefully not talking too fast. Then, of course, in every single email that I have a way ahead. This is what to expect next. That's always what clients' questions are. What to expect next. So expect next buyer email number 3, which will be sent as we get closer to drafting your offer. I have 6 attachments in this buyer email number 2. That might sound like a lot, but again, I'd rather send them all the information now So that way they have it and they can review at their own leisure as opposed to later on when they're rushed. Let's start with the beefiest one, buyer client PDF. Now, as you can tell, if you're following along here, this took a lot of work. I did not make this PDF. I hired somebody to do it because I am not digitally creative like this, but it's in prettier format. You know, there's colors on here. It's a little photo of me, what I'm about, that I used to be in the military. I invest. These are some podcasts that I've been on in case you want to just learn a little bit more about me. Then I have another video on page 3 of just a welcome, an introduction. This is me. I'm excited to work with you. Page 4 is what you can expect, what the buyer can expect from me: communication, guidance, local knowledge, market expertise. Number 5, page 5 is what I could expect from them. Submit a prequal. You know, before viewing properties, we cannot do that until I have your prequal and it's, up to date. That I also expect that they drive the neighborhood. If they're in the local area, before we view that property on the inside, I expect that they see the property on the outside. A lot of people might think, oh, you're telling the buyer to do too much. Trust me, I've only ever gotten positive feedback about this. Like, oh, wow, no one's ever told me to do that. That's a good idea. And it is. It's a great idea. I got that from my dad because I'm an investor as well. So I want to know what's going on at 11 p.m. on a Friday. And I tell them, hey, if you want to go extra credit, if you go at midnight on a Saturday night to see if you're actually comfortable in that area that you're interested in. So of course you can if you text me again, the keyword is going to be text training for a copy of everything here to 520-341-2552. So following along, general information, my work hours. This is how, we're going to be communicating. Then the real process starts where I have video after video, 3 videos per page on talking them through the whole buying process: buyer client expectations, home buying process, but what it's like to buy a house in this market, shopping for a lender, because it's exactly what I do when I shop for a lender, purchase contract overview, and what is the specific market like right now. Then 4 steps that buyers forget to make when placing offers. And guess what? Guess where I thought of these 4 steps? My own personal mistakes. So don't make the mistakes I was making. So make sure that your buyers see this. 7 ways to make your offer stand out. Now, I should probably update this one because this last one had the love letters, which I do not do anymore. I do not recommend. And then I'm under contract. Now what? That's always a question, right? And then at the bottom, follow me on my socials. I'm telling the buyers these. I'm not telling you this, although you can if you want to. It's Allie the agent. So that's the beefiest attachment. Next is the Word doc, which I think my computer might freeze if I open. But what I have here is what you can expect from me. Now, what do I have here? It's a video that is already on the buyer client PDF. That PDF has everything in a video series of what the buyer needs to make an offer and to work with me. So the what you can expect from me attachment, the second attachment, is exactly what I have already mentioned previously. It's just in a Word doc so they can follow along. My work hours, this is what I expect. Then the other 2 attachments are specific to this local area. It's the purchase contract, or in some states, offer to purchase. But whatever the purchase contract is in your area, I attach that. I attach that in buyer email number 2, but really it's their first email that they're getting. So that way, right off the bat, they see how formal it is. Then I also attach the additional clause in case they need to do anything outside of the original contract. So for example, waive the appraisal or anything like that. Then I also have the buyer's roadmap, which is just a 1-pager color, pretty looking thing. It's a wheel that just walks the buyers through the purchase contract or through the whole home buying process. Then I have the buyer advisory. My TC also sends this, but I would rather my buyers have this immediately. So that way, because this is lengthy, right? According to your MLS, this is going to be a pretty beefy one, and it helps out a lot. Common physical conditions in the property that a buyer should investigate. I want them to know that. And I don't want them to only hear it from me in my videos. I want them to see, oh, this is, a statewide thing. Maybe I should get a sewer scope. Yes, you should. So that's all the attachments that I have in buyer email number 2. And I think I'm going to leave it here. So again, there's no way I can go through every single item on this first segment of my Trello checklist. But again, if you text training to 520-341-2552, it takes you through every single thing. Now, I don't have all scripts on here, but I have a couple of just questions to ask to not forget. Everyone in my EXP downline, they have access to a lot more information than this. I have almost 200 page real estate Bible Google Doc, which has everything that I know about real estate sales. And I mean, everything. But that is exclusive to them. However, some of the most important portions of it they're all on the checklist that I'm sharing with you today. So if you'd like more, you know what to do, you know what to text. If you have any questions or I don't know, like want to schedule a one-on-one, I'm here for that. It's calendly.com/Garced Realty. I super hope this helps. The next training is going to be on the part 2 of working with a buyer. We'll go over emails number 3 and 4. Look forward to seeing you then. Bye.